Hey guys, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? I'm back. Ah. I hope everybody's doing really good today, whatever time zone you're at. Hey, how you doing? Please make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And share. So I put up on my channel a little video about me revamping things. Explaining the situation at hand. Now, I don't mind doing this because maybe it's just a way that this forces the word out even more. And maybe doing it through my words, I don't know, might help. So my co-host over here, she's been having a rough 2 days. She's limping and tired, and so I hope she's okay. He's Enoch. I'm going to try to tackle this book and the Law of One as fast as possible. But it's going to be a little different from me reading from it. I have taken notes. Lots of notes. Notes. The Keys of Enoch is an essential must-read book because it combines mathematics, quantum physics, biochemistry, religion, very similar to the route Urantia takes. It talks about chakras and densities and planets and the cosmology of things, the astronomy of things. It goes into so many things and it ties everything in together. It is not an easy read. It is rather difficult. That's why I was reading from the passages. The problem is, you know, either my emails get lost or not. I don't want a chance getting another strike for spreading truth and knowledge. And I understand their position as well. It's not to take away anything, and it is what it is. And a lot of people don't have $50 to buy this book. And it's worth it. And that's not a joke. It is really worth that money. Other people hawk it for a higher amount on Amazon and other book outlets. Don't fall for that. It does take time to ship. 4 to 6 weeks. That's a long time, but it's worth the wait. In the meantime, I'm going to keep going to the videos that I've done. I'm going to keep the content in a similar form to what I wrote down. So the first Keys of Enoch, I did key 101, key 102, key 103, and 203. And I discussed a lot there. I kind of condensed it down to get a general scope and view of the mission he has. I think JJ Hertek is an incredible person who is bringing this information and this knowledge to the forefront. I just, again, don't want a chance having someone else go after me for whatever their means of trying to not get the knowledge out. Again, I don't get paid by these people to promote their books, to share their content. A lot of when you read things, reading it from the source itself is very important than somebody diluting it down and giving you a perception. Unfortunately, I have to now do that. I don't like that. Some books that I have on this channel, I could read straight through, not a problem, no one cares. Get the information out. And again, it's like I promote the fact that people should buy the book to read it for themselves. They never not once said that. They shouldn't. No, go read the books if you have the time and the money. So I do have to delete a lot of videos. I'm not happy about that, but it is what it is. And if I want to grow this community of like-minded people and people in the future who need help in figuring out what the hell just went on and went down, they'll be able to get a crash course in many of these books. I'm going to tackle Dolores Cannon probably last because although it's not her or her daughter's fault, I just don't like I didn't get good vibes or intentions from that interaction I had the other day. It's one thing to email somebody knowing that that person is not ill intent. It was just very shady. I don't like how it was done. I should have been emailed by the company. My information is out there. I know they watched the video. Just to, hey, like, you have to ask for permission and we're not going to grant it to you, but can you please take those videos down, anything that mentions her? And I would have said, no problem. Sorry for the inconvenience. I'm just trying to spread truth and help other people. Not a problem. And it would have been solved easier than involving the tube. So, but people don't play that way. It is what it is. And I'm just doing these videos as a precaution. So again, I don't know what each author and publisher, they say certain things, like you can state certain things, you can go into certain things, but there's a limit and they don't tell you what that limit is. And it's like hold fair use. But I've seen and listened to so many people talk about books, and I know they didn't get authorization from anybody to do it. So I just find it funky. It is what it is. So I'm going to be safe and give you the scoop on the keys of Enoch and these keys. I'm going to try to pump out one of these a day. Crossing my fingers. And continuing the other work. Tonight I might just be able to do this because I have a side job tomorrow. Yay. And then it will continue during the week. I got to run some errands. I really have to drop my car off, even though I don't even have any money. I have a credit card. It needs to be fixed and inspected, and new battery, oil change, the whole 9 yards. So we'll see how all of that plays out for this week. I'm going to try. So key 101, 102, and 103 are all like written together. All these keys, everything he wrote was programmed into him like a download, right? We're all downloaded information. Like when I get icky with my ears, it's because I'm receiving downloads and it's being brought into my ears. So JJ Hertech was programmed with these keys. And he's, from the first several parts, he's trying to push the point that we are a part of an open mind, also an open-ended mind. We are all one with individual consciousness, yet our consciousness expands in the universe. It's an open-ended universe. So there's no end, there's no limit, it's infinity. We're all one with individual consciousness, but we also have a part of the cosmic consciousness of the all. And he was mentioning in this third density dimension, us as human beings, man, limit God to our universal perception. So we only know of the third dimensional existence because that's where we live. That's the matrix that we're in. We are put here in this third dimensional state, and we only have so much knowledge of what creator is, and there's so many different perceptions everybody has, but we kind of limit that. And even if we think we know, we don't have that comprehension because our minds are in a third dimensional level. You must see all universes in order to see God. So we're only in the one universe in this little subsection of the Sagittarius tail in the Milky Way. But on the grander whole, there's like in Narantia, it's the 7 super universes. We haven't traversed those yet. We haven't been there. So we cannot see and understand God to all capacity until we enter all of those realms. And you know, in Urantia, it goes off that we can't, you know, there's only certain sections that we are allowed to like move in and travel in. But here, he's expanding on that concept that we need to go in all. God is beyond all universes. He is beyond all of our images. So for a particle physicist and those who dabble in the very fine things that you metaphysically too, the things you can't see yet still exist, that's the notion that's being implied there. He's beyond all of our images because we cannot see the particles, the atoms, the neutrons, the quarks. We can't physically see any of that. That makes up matter, that makes up material in our material world. But there is way more beyond that. So he speaks of that idea that it's beyond us in visualizing what God is. He brings up the brotherhood of light equals the communion of light. So there is a government upstairs and there's a government with positions, and each entity takes a position. That will be covered in another section, but the brotherhood is that equals the union of light. This might challenge a lot of people, and I don't think I brought this up in the other video, the first one I did with this topic, but I felt like this is the time to understand this concept. The collective Messiah, we form it. We all are our own saviors. No one is coming to save us. We need to save ourselves. The problem is there's too many on a collective scale who look at an outside form of another being to come and save us. We are all collectively fractalizations of God, the Son, and the Spirit. We create the whole. We are the collective Messiah. We are the children of God. We are the essence made up of God. Light is the emanation of divine love. So here, he's formulating what the law of one states. The creative mind is the I am, the biocosmic evolution of higher evolution. Other races and species in the multiverse don't have the expression to create. Now, that's not to say they can't create other beings. They're not creatively minded. So music and art and a lot of things that we just do naturally, like crafty people and artists, we create, we build, we make with an outside of the box thinking. A lot of other species don't have that, and they don't have free will. So we're very unique, and that's why a lot of us came down here to have this experience, because we've lived a lot of lives before this, and I'll get into that. I might have it on the other one. But the I am is us as a collective. You are the I am presence. I am the I am presence. We're all the I am presences. So you got to stand in that power. Now, the atomic species, that's us. Man of light, that is us. We can incarnate not only in physical, but in light manifestations also. I talk about in another video, I don't remember which one, that I started remembering and I got a validation of what I actually am as a being and as a soul. And I was shown myself in angelic form as a light being first. Then I went and took form in the Pleiades. And I lived a bunch of lives there. And then I was asked to take human form, or a form. No, I don't think I took my human form yet. I took an alien form in Atlantis, not of human. And then I became human. So that's really what I'm getting there. But also, a lot of people astral travel. A lot of people know how to get into their Merkaba body, their light vehicle, to traverse space. And he goes into that too in another key. Not the ones I'm going to read tonight. But understand, we are more complex and more powerful than we were ever led to believe. They don't want you knowing this information. And why? Because Enoch, in the book of Enoch, talks a lot about this stuff. We were once a light being. And that does include the lower creations. It does involve lower entities, which I was saying in the video, PK manifestations and thought forms. Those are the entities that sometimes we ourselves manifest into existence because of our emotional states, because we have way too much energy we aren't even consciously aware of, and things start happening. Other instances is the baddies, they exist. He goes over that a little bit, but not in these. He does talk about the Merkaba, the light body. Hang on. I'm going to recreate what I did in the video. It's my big Merkaba. We take that shape to travel. We take that shape. Our light body goes in there to traverse. We must crave more the eternal life to take in light of the living. The frequency of light we hold will determine the threshold in our chemical evolution. Light is frequency. As I talk about with the law of one, there's octaves and frequencies and vibrations. We are all light. We just don't see it. And what's happening now in our paradigm is we are being blasted with, the Schulman resonance. You'll see everything spiking. We're feeling off or exhausted, or we're really super energized. Our ears are buzzing and we have ascension symptoms. Now, some people argue that that's not real and other people will argue it is. Well, the keys of Enoch will tell you that it's real because we're going through a chemical transformation, a biochemical DNA transformation, because in order to obtain the higher densities, your body needs to change in order to hold the higher frequencies and vibrations that exist outside of third dimension. So we have to all be aware that we need to seek the light from within and to know that there is a chemical evolution taking place in our bodies currently. With synchronicity, all of the incarnations we have completed, the light functions with frequencies. What we are would die in a flash in darkness, says J.J. Hertek. So, feedback loop of each our soul's existence, each life, we also get light codes. So since we became human very, very many times, we are always reincarnating for more lessons, more soul growth, more light codes, more energy codes, so that our soul will be prepared to go back to source and not to get sucked into the darkness. Each life, we have light functions that we learn, that we get encoded with. And now the cycle is coming to a close. Many of us have these codes already deep innate within us. These codes are energy, electromagnetic, and it's okay if you don't feel them and you're like, what the hell is she talking about? We have been on this feedback loop. Some people for 12,000 years, 12,000 incarnations. Some people less, some people more. Everybody has a different path. But each of those lives you lived, you have gained upgrades to your DNA, and to your soul, which is very important. So we're being upgraded. The electromagnetic energy circuits is gridded around the planet, and the light codes to be absorbed. What do you think on the here and now? We are having many earthquakes, many earth changes, many volcanoes going off, many storms, more than we've had in a long time, because those energy circuits that's all around our planet, they're sending us light codes. They're upgrading us from within. And we're absorbing them. We are divine, invincible projections of creation that hold up to the negative fields, since we are in search for love and light, consciousness, and growth. If you keep on that positive polarity track, everything will be fine. The negative polarity people will move in their own direction, but at the same time, they'll probably move up because it's still about love and light, even though they're loving themselves. My poor old lady. So that really is like a synapses of the first 3 keys. Now, I also read during that video, key 203. This gets more technical. I did my best to kind of try to summarize stuff I'm not really good at in terms of technical stuff, but I'll give it a crack. Talking on the double helix. So we all have the double helix strands in our body that forms us, and how we discover we have more components to the helix. So when I'm talking on, like during the Anunnaki series and the Gray Agenda series that I do, we've had more helixes and they were taken away. Excuse your face. And a lot of our components are still there. They're just not attached. The evolving of our physical bodies to be capable of living in and off planet environments. So these helixes, these DNA upgrades, these light code upgrades will help us be capable of living off our planet. So what happens if something does terribly go wrong? I'm not saying it will, but what happens if we have to, in a snap of an eye, we get zipped up into another realm because someone hit a button and kablooey, there goes the planet. But then what happens to us? We have to be able to handle and traverse space and other environments. So that's really what the upgrading of our bodies will be. It's pretty wicked. The concept of a triple helix, allowing the DNA chain to spawn a 3rd super helix. Now there's mentions in the Ascension community, spiritual community, that I have a 12-strand DNA, 24-strand DNA. JJ is only talking about a triple helix. And that eventually it will spawn a 3rd super helix within our 2 helixes. Our possible future bodies with rearranging codes in the helix will, with different structures, can change skin pigmentation. Our higher mind can experience many worlds, dimensions at the same time that indwell in realms and physical bodies, all with one mind and consciousness. There's a really amazing person who's described this in person, who has a portal in their heart, 2 pituitary glands, an amazing, incredible Patty Broussard, if you haven't watched her. She's capable of being in control of 3 different bodies at the same time. Using the one consciousness. And when our codes are rearranged and our textures of our skin changes, it's to help us with the newer environments that we might be headed into. So like blue and pale gray, and purple, blue, whatever the color is, we will be transforming into that in our future selves. I don't think we're going to 4D in purple with purple parts, but eventually we'll be upgraded so that we can go into different places in different worlds. Now, this portion of this key, JJ goes into Atlantis. So he speaks about the underwater species. Atlanteans were above water and below. So there was physical and physical beings in the water. And what happened is when the two bred, so the underwater creatures bred with the land creatures, something happened. It's, well, you could think about it as in terms of incest, where there's deformities. I'm not saying that everybody that is inherently from incest has deformities, but that's usually the case because you're inbreeding. And even though that they were on land and in the water, things did happen, and it happened more on a spiritual basis. So the Pleiadians, the Atlanteans, the inhabitants of Atlantis were very highly spiritual beings. They had telepathy, they had all types of spiritual abilities. And when those two combined, it knocked them down a peg in the spiritual development and up their peg in the physical elements of muscles and just their body in itself. They got stronger, but not spiritually advanced. And that was being bioengineered. Partial reason why it had to be taken out, and it was agreed upon to be taken out from the councils above, because they were not only doing genetic experiments, and this is not from JJ Hertek, this is just my take on my research. They were doing other types of crossbreeding with other things that didn't really turn out so well. And that actually carries on into our time now. We've seen a video of an infant, half tiger, half human. One hand was a tiger paw and the other hand was holding a finger of a person. The head was all misshapen and weird, breathing. Half of it had some hair and half of it didn't. It was the most bizarre thing ever. and really, really disturbing and sad. So you can only imagine back in those times, what the hell was being created besides combining two species underwater and in physical form on land, what that could have looked like. And what it did to their spiritual progress. To form the atomic form, laser-like projection by the bioengineers can be transferred from a physical to an energy body form, brought to an avatar in the lower heavens and put back to original form, biolocation. So you got to think about it as like beam me up, Scotty, via your unconsciousness. So teleportation. If I could think of a place without encroaching someone else's privacy, let's say I have a friend in another state that I want to go visit. I have a lot of friends in Florida. Because of the mass exodus from this communistic state that I live in, and lucky them, they got out. If I wanted to, if I had the ability, I would have already tried this. I would try to project my body in every cellular piece of my form to their front doorstep and ring the doorbell. And then put it back in my original form. Or be beamed through a machine, projected somewhere else, and then be put back whole again. These abilities were in existence. And where do you think they got the idea to beam me up, Scotty? Or, you know, in the video games, they just portal through and they're in a new spot. The Philadelphia experiment, the USS Eldridge. Go look that up if you don't know about it. Same stuff. This needs conditions he calls protonic flux, which JJ calls cosmoprotons. It reminds me of quantum entanglement. Helps remanifest a person to planets or Gaia at different frequencies and under cosmic law. So you just can't manifest anywhere you want. There has to be, it has to be under cosmic law. And if you understand the bare bones of quantum entanglement, at the frequency that you need to be projected to, that entanglement happens, you're zipped through time, space, and you manifest. Just the easiest way that I can explain it without reading from his book. I would love, I mean, a lot of people do this already. They go in their astral body. So a lot of people can do astral traveling. This is not the same because you're not physically manifesting somewhere. Whereas you are taken up on a ship, or you're, you know, 1 minute you're in bed and the next minute you're all like, here you are on a ship, you were just zipped upstairs. That's what this is talking about. You know, you come out and there's shiny, glittery looking you, and all of a sudden, here you are. So that's more or less of what these two, really the keys 101, 102, and 103 are all together. It's just talking about the divine love and light. It's talking about the I am, the creativeness. We need to embrace the light that's within and try to achieve that love so that we can move up and ascend. That the understanding that God is way more than what we think, because again, religion is man-made, right? Man wrote the books, man preached the word. It's in our purview to think of what we are, what we take in and our perception of it. We're just given that perception. It is much more than we can ever comprehend in this body, in this density. Way more profound. You can imagine it. You could string up all the things you want. But God is way more than we would think it is. And I say it because it's energy. We're all energy. We are all love and light. We all have frequency. And even the people who are self-polaritying on the negative side, even those people are still love and light because they are a part of creation. Again, I keep saying and stressing this, we are a balance of both positive and negative. And the next video that I do, covering one of the other keys, we'll talk about the Orion constellation to the Pleiades constellation. Again, and not to say that everything in Orion is bad and not everything in the Pleiades is good. Everything has to have a freaking balance. But we associate Orion with the geometric shapes of the pyramids, with the alignment of grading around the planet. Everything aligns with Orion's belt. Orion has a portal in the nebula, the Horus Nebula, that is like prime time space. That's where everybody wants. That's like the hub where all the negative polarity entities portal in out of. So we have to have a balance of good, and this again is an experiment. This is a design. Adam is us. We are the people of God. We are the chosen, as you would want to say. But we can't dampen our minds to think that we know what it is, because God is way more than what we can even comprehend. And not just the keys of Enoch. The Law of One says very similar words. Urantia says very similar words, even Owaspé. And many other books say very much the same thing. Higher ended beings don't even know the completeness and infinity and of God. They can give us a higher perspective. They can, when they channel through people and they give this information, they stress the fact that third dimensional minds do not comprehend the entirety, the infinitude of what Creator is. And if you could visualize the brightest of lights and the loudest of vibrational love, you might be ripped to shreds. Because we can't handle that kind of light and that kind of love and those colors that exist. There's colors on spectrums that we can't even see with our naked eye. I'm one of the fortunate people that have, I forgot what it's called. It's like Cro-Magnon. It's the ability to see more colors than other people. the spectrum of colors, I can pick out all the individual colors within a hue because I could see it. I could see the breakdown. Where some people might just see a block of color and that's like, oh, that's red. But like, they're not seeing like, oh, that's a crimson, that's a pink, that's a pinkish, that's they're not seeing the whole. They're only seeing the block. I see a ton, but that's not even what is up there. The vibration of colors on each density gets greater and greater. And our eyes can't in this form unless we go through the changes, the biochemical changes that are slowly happening to us. And it has to take, again, this was written in 1973. The Law of One was in the 1980s. Some of the other books are from the 1800s, early 1900s. We've been going through these codes, these light codes, this information since we were born, because our bodies will not be able to handle it coming all down at once. Right now, we're going through like warp speed because it's go time. Now, whether go time means it's happening this year, some people say it will. Some people say it's going to happen in 24, 25, 26, 30. I don't care. It's going to happen. And some of us are being blasted with light codes. Those are different from downloads. You're still being downloaded information. You still have a stream, a channel stream to your higher self. Your higher self has a stream to the creator. It's a feedback loop. But you also have your spirit guides, your angels, your archangels. You have all in between. You have your ascended masters. You have everybody filtering information through you while you're also getting changes to your body physically. So back pain. Number 3 issues. There's number 1, number 2, and number 3 when you go to the bathroom. Number 3 happens because it's purging out toxins. A lot of people wake up very lightheaded, don't ever have a problem with that. A lot of people get buzzing in the ear. Again, these things, if they are not something that frequents you, some people have tinnitus, but if it's not, you don't have that and it occurs, you're getting upgraded. But everybody is an individual and everybody receives these codes differently and in different ways at different times. When I went to the medium, he told me that my downloads would happen in a Tesla code 369. So 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. In order for me, when I get the initial download, it'll take me 3 months to process all that information, all those changes. And then when the 6 month mark hits, I get another stream of information and another stream of upgrading to my body. And then at 9, I get another massive megaton wave. And then I'll go back to 3, 6, 9. I don't know if everybody's on that scale. Beats me, but it can't be uncounted. It's very, very important that we understand he incorporates Adam Cadman. He's incorporating the language, a lot more languages, but he's throwing you a mixture of religion and science. What? And mathematics. And it all plays into each other. What's been happening in our paradigm since we were born, we were handed something and we said, well, you have to separate church and state and you have to separate science and religion. I do believe that state government should be separate from religion. Why? Because we have freedom of will, so we have freedom of religion. No one should be, when we have to swear on something, it should be on ourselves. You want to put your hand on a book, it could be any book. The problem is there's prayer, and I'm not talking about the good prayer and the good book. I'm talking about the evil stuff. I saw a video the other day where they were hailing Satan in a government facility. Now, there shouldn't be any problem with that because people go and pray to God. So why can't they pray to their God? But it shows you the agenda. Okay. It needs to be eradicated out of government. Yes, you can have your stances when it crosses religion. Like my religious exemption should have been taken and not denied with my job. They probably laughed at it because I put the Galactic Codex in there and mentioned Commander Ardana. Nonetheless, I also mentioned a lot of the Bible. So they probably left it off. But if I truly believe in that, what is it anybody's right to deny me that? Because that's my belief. That's what I feel and think. No one should take that away from me. Not one person. It's very, very interesting how things need to start being perceived in a better way when it comes to these topics. You can't impose your religion on another person because there is no one true right one religion. I get a lot of my friends who are like, I feel really sorry for you. You're not going to be accepted into heaven because you didn't accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Who's saving me? Myself. Because I'm obtaining the Christ consciousness that he came to teach, but was semi-stopped in literature because they didn't want his information out because his information was factual. And they didn't want you to know how powerful you are inside of yourself. And they knocked you genetically down on a couple of pegs. This is why this is all happening. This is why we're getting life coaches. This is why we're getting an advancement and an upgrade, because Yeshua came down, whatever you want to call Yeshua. He came down to teach the law of one. He came down to teach the Adamic race what they were lacking spiritually. Instant healing, thought forms, healing people with just your thoughts, foresight, claircognizance, clairvoyancy, all of that. It's just not written down in those terms. Those terms probably never existed back then. And if they did, great, but they're not expressed in literature from that time. We are all God. We all are one. And even though we have individualized consciousness, we still form a social memory complex, because what you think You could put out telepathy. And it's up to another person to channel that stream. You know, think about the internet, how, you know, there's radio waves and all types of waves killing our brain cells off as we speak. But just think of it like that. Everything is streamed out. What happens if you could stream your thoughts? So if I wanted to make a specific bread and I might be lacking an ingredient, I could probably tap into the ether and put out a little SOS. Hey, does anybody know what I could substitute for this recipe? And someone had already put that thought out into it. It collects, streams into me. Boom, I can make that bread now because someone gave me the answer. We're a part of the open mind. And it's open-ended mind. Therefore, it goes on for infinity and beyond. We have to really take in, this is like a very essential first part. It's essential that we understand that we are the I am, we are the creative mind. We are the light emanation of divine love. We have a lot more powers and a lot more abilities than we give ourselves credit for. And even if those things aren't manifesting in the physical, they are definitely in the non. We have a higher self. Even though I said, yes, I've had my higher self swap out with my other self. That other self then now became my higher self. It's getting taught more information because this higher self needed to give me more. People have soul swaps. A lot of people talk about that. So, you know, when I read, this is why I don't like reading my stuff this way and taking notes, and then because I go off on my own tangents, but I'm trying to help you all connect some of these connections to his work without overcomplicating too much. His writing, if you've watched the other videos that I've done on him, reading from the book, it's not easy to grasp. And I know there's a lot of people who can really get into an intense conversation with it. But I don't want to lose people with this first part that I read with my note taking either. And I mean, it combines with the key 203 because, you know, as we're learning that we're electromagnetic and we have a biochemistry, we have a whole system of circuits within our own body. We have the DNA that is being upgraded. And through that DNA, either it's going to be a 3 helix, maybe it'll be a 6-9, I don't know. No one's definitive on what really will happen. But we do need an upgrade in our avatar so that we can travel and traverse different densities. And that would be for ourselves in this body 4D. It's a state of mind, right? But we have to take our bodies with us. Eventually, we all have to make a quantum leap. And we all can't take the quantum leap at the same time. But those who take the quantum leap into the next dimension need their bodies upgraded in order for that even to go on. Not just your mind and your light body, but your entire physical vehicle. And there might be skin pigmentation changes. There might not be. I think when he was talking about the structures of our skin And our pigmentation, I think more of the far future in like 6th, 7th density, where you might be more of a bluish tone because the lack of oxygen in wherever you decided to ascend to, whether it be this galaxy or another one. You know, supposedly we're crystalline beings. We were turned down back to carbon. And now we're reformating ourselves and transforming ourselves into a crystalline form. Really cool. Happen for me now, please. I think a lot of us want that. So yeah, so that is the summary synapses of The Keys of Enoch, the Book of Knowledge, The Keys of Enoch by J.J. Hertek on Key 101, 102, 103, and 203. I really want to thank everybody for bearing in mind that I'm going to be deleting some videos in order for this one to go up in the place of the first one that I did on this topic. I do apologize that I am not reading from the book no more. I have to take notes and kind of summarize it because I do not want my channel taken down because of whatever copyright issues. And, you know, again, it's one thing to take a whole scan of a book and send it out to people, and that author is not getting the money. I totally understand that. In the same breath, I don't read every section. I don't read every verse, and I talk about it. Professors are allowed to do that and live stream it to their students. They don't get permission, they just do it. So I don't see what this holds any difference to. Again, I understand the whole concept. Again, you don't have to, I know about the copyright laws and all of that stuff. I get it. I don't agree with it full force when the intention is of knowledge and I'm not receiving any money. And my page isn't monetized. I can understand if it was, and I was profiting off of reading someone's book. Totally get that. And yeah, then that deserves something. But again, each of these authors and publishers have criteria that they meet. And if you break it, which I wasn't told in, and it didn't come from J.J. Hertek, by the way, but just to be on the safe side, I don't want to mingle any feathers. I don't want any problems because I respect the work. And that's very important. So I'm sorry I'm chewing your head off on this topic. I will stop. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something out of it. I will definitely link all the information below where you can find the book. Please use his website. It does take a long time to get to you depending where you are in the world. If you are not able to get out, if it's unable to be shipped to you from outside the United States, that might be an issue only because of the shipping issues going on across the world right now and the price of everything going up exponentially. So see if there's a PDF version. I know he sells keys, certain keys that I will go over in future videos. But try to catch up before I have to pull all of them down. I'm going to try to do this in a slower pace of taking all the content down all at once, so that people now are on the radar that oh, I should watch some of these videos so I get what I'm getting, and then I'm going to take them out. So catch up. I'm going to leave it there. Sending each and every one of you love and light. I hope all of you understand. And I hope that I did that properly in the right context. If not, this is why I read from books. So, in anywho, have a good Saturday, friends. Sending each and every one of you love and light. Be safe, be seen, study up, and I'll see you on the next one. Again, don't forget to hit that like button. I'm going to need it now more than ever, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I got to push all these out, and a lot's going to go down again with numbers. So I want to be able to reach as many people as possible. Bye.